So let's look at each of these different temperaments a little bit more deeply now. And we're going to start with the Guardians, the SJ temperament. So sensing, remember, all SJs have the letters S and J in their Myers-Briggs type. So again, let's look at sensing. Sensing indicates a preference for a practical focus of attention on facts and details. Sensors have a here and now realistic focus of attention. So this is the type of person that pays attention to practicalities, all right? Judging indicates a preference for being decisive when dealing with the outer world. They like to plan and structure their activities and are uncomfortable with unplanned changes and spontaneity. So let's look at what each of these different temperaments, starting with the Guardians, need in order to esteem themselves. Okay? So to esteem themselves, Guardians really need these things. They need to feel and be responsible, dependable, useful, and of service to others. That's deeply embedded in their motivation. Okay? They also need to feel a sense of affiliation, membership, and kinship with the groups to which they belong. Thirdly, they need to do what feels right for them, like honoring commitments, respecting authority, following rules, obeying the law, and being loyal. These are deeply important to Guardians. And they need to make things stable, secure, and predictable, both for themselves and for other people as well. Here's a cute little cartoon describing some of the thoughts that, that a typical Guardian might have. So, do your duty. Why are people so disrespectful? Call your mother. Send thank you notes for thank you notes. Work hard. So you can see how all of these thoughts revolve around the basic needs of what the Guardian needs in order to feel good about themselves, right? And then that motivates their behavior as well. So what do Guardians value? Well, based on what we can see that they need, these are some of their values. They value conformity. So they don't like people that are too far off the beaten path, or that are too progressive, or trying to change things too quickly or too much. So very much they're very aware of what the right way of living is and how we've always done things, and they want to conform to that. Preservation of social norms. Again, they like tradition, social norms, keeping things the way that they are. Security and stability. Of course, that's going to be very important for them as well. Duty, commitment, loyalty, dependability. This is the person that's very conscientious. This is the person you can trust with your life. If I were in a bunker, I'd want a Guardian by my side because I know that that person I can count on. Family. Family is huge for Guardians, again, because it goes along with the tradition and caring for your loved ones and security and protection and all of that. And it's also very practical, sensible, realistic. It's in the real world. We are working with we're spending time with our family and relationships and that kind of thing. It's very important. Reverence for traditions and customs. Okay? So again, people that are trying to do new agey things and metaphysical and out there weird stuff, it doesn't really make as much sense to Guardians. Obeying the law, rules, and regulations. This is something that's very important too. Prudence and thriftiness. Because Guardians are very much concerned about security and stability for themselves and their loved ones, they tend to be prudent and sensible and thrifty, and are very careful with their money. Most of them. They tend to be respectful, honor proprietariness, and they're punctual. Okay? Here's a cute little cartoon. Sit down and fasten your seatbelt, so it's not hard to see which one is the SJ. Alright, so here are some Guardian natural gifts and talents. So, from their basic needs and their values, they have natural gifts and talents that they want to express. They love collecting information carefully and thoroughly. This is what they're very detail oriented, so they're very good at gathering information, gathering facts and figures, that kind of thing. Recalling specific details, facts, figures, and data. This is the type that has an incredible memory for all kinds of trivia, facts, details, everything like that. It's amazing what they can remember. If you have forgotten some statistic of a sports game a long time ago, it's a good chance that the Guardian will remember it. Okay, organization and handling logistics very well. Again, the judging preference is very good at scheduling, planning, organizing, so they tend to be excellent at that. Very, very good. Time and task management. Again, if you need something done and you need it done on time, this is the type of person you want to have do it. Bookkeeping, record keeping of all kinds, accounting, scheduling and planning, allocating resources properly and fairly. Again, it requires great organization and detailed analysis for that. Quality control, regulatory compliance, because obeying the law and doing things the right way is very important to this type. They're very good at quality control. And they make great critics too, because they're good at noticing the flaws and where things are not quite right. And again, of course, they're dependable, reliable, and responsible. So they make great receptionists, great assistants, great leaders. You know, you can count on them. All right, here's another little cute cartoon. Work hard, a penny saved is a penny earned. Respect your parents, a good day's work never hurt anybody. So these are the kinds of things that you might find in a guardian's home, on the refrigerator or on a wall. Alright, so each temperament, of course, has a downside as well. So we each have natural gifts and natural talents, and then we also have things that we're not so good at. So what are some of those foibles and shortcomings of guardians? They are that they can be overly cautious and resistant to change. Okay, so when other people are trying to create change, the guardians are the ones that dig in their heels and say, no, we've never done it that way before. All right. They can be narrow-minded and overly conservative sometimes. They can be judgmental with lots of shoulds and should-nots, because it's all about right and wrong. So there can be a lot of good and good and bad, right and wrong, you know, that kind of thing. Black and white. They can be uptight worriers, unable to relax and have fun. They can be inflexible and rigid. They can also be sticklers for the rules. They can lack spontaneity. They can be boring and unimaginative. They can be finicky about details. They can be obsessive about neatness. They can be prone to blindly follow the herd. They can be critical naggers or self-pitying complainers. And they can be pessimistic, melancholic, or perfectionistic. All right, so all of those are some of the more negative or, you know, downsides of being a guardian. So they've got to be careful about those things. Be aware of them. Here's another cute cartoon. Henry, after working here for 20 years and never taking a vacation, I'm afraid I have to insist you take the 11 months off that we owe you. So again, they're very hardworking, very loyal, very dependable, and they will just keep working and keep working and keep working. So this is very typical for guardians, especially this particular one, ISTJ. Here's another one. Yes, I promise to always squeeze the toothpaste the right way. So this lady is being instructed by her husband or partner to squeeze the toothpaste the right way. These are some books that a guardian might be interested in. Again, each temperament is drawn to learning different things. So, time management, of course, is very important to guardians. Robert's Rules of Order of how to do things properly, the right way. Risk-free investments for creating a nice, stable security for yourself and your loved ones. And raising well-behaved children, right? We want everyone to behave right. And another thing, for presents or anniversaries, guardians, because they're very practical and realistic, are prone to giving gifts that are very practical and realistic. So you're not going to find a guardian that's, you know, going to be giving you a consultation with an astrologer or a trip to Bali or something like that. You know, most of the time it's going to be very practical. So here is an ISTJ giving his lovely wife a vacuum cleaner, and she's saying, I was hoping for a trip to Bali. Yes, they often make employees of the month because, again, they are very practical, responsible, organized, punctual, loyal, dependable, conscientious, all of those great things that we really prize in employees. All right, so I just wanted to point out that there are extroverted guardians, and you'll notice that they both have the letter E in as their first letters. And the first one says ESTJ, and the second one is ESFJ. Of course, they have to have an S and a J in their Myers-Briggs type because by definition, that is what creates a guardian. And so the extroverted guardians will have the letters that would have the E in front of it, and then these two types would differ in thinking and feeling. Remember, that's how you're gonna make decisions. Introverted guardians are the ISTJ and ISFJ. The thinking guardians are ESTJ and ISTJ. The feeling guardians are ESFJ and ISFJ. So here are some speculated famous guardians. Okay, I'm just going to read this list for you and see if you can notice what they have in common based on what we've already talked about. So Felix Unger from the sitcom The Odd Couple, I think he fits that description of the guardian pretty well. Barbara Bush, Brigham Young, Colin Powell, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, John D. Rockefeller, President George Washington, President George Bush Sr., Queen Elizabeth II, Warren Buffett, and Gerald Ford. So what do these people have in common? They're all reliable, responsible, conscientious. They're very interested in building security and stability for themselves and other people. They're interested in doing what's right. They're interested in feeling a part of, a membership, an affiliation, a kinship with other people. Those are the things that are most important to the guardians. Okay? Next, we're going to talk about the artisans.